Welcome to the WRC podcast. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and you're in the right place. Here at the Well-Rounded Counselor podcast, what you can expect is to learn, shift your thinking, and gain personal and professional growth. And if you have not yet done so, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another podcast episode. The conversation starts now. We're recording. All right, welcome everybody, Razoun, to our podcast episode today. Welcome, Razoun. So lovely to have you.
Oh, so lovely to have at your wonderful series of podcasts. I hope this will be an amazing discussion, and I'm really excited about it.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a very interesting topic. It's trending, and I know that you're very passionate about this topic, and you were quite eager to share your insights with all of us today. But before we get into that, would you mind sharing a little bit about more of your journey and how this topic kind of ties into what you do on a day-to-day basis and how it helps you and your students?
Yes, sure. I believe as a counselor, whichever country we are working, whether it's in Middle East or Europe or America or in South Asia, every year we see the demands of the students are changing. The way they think, the parents are thinking about sending their students to their dream destination. The priorities are changing, right? And for past couple of years, if I talk about past 10 years, after the fourth industrial revolution we talk about, and in past 2 years when we talk about more onto artificial intelligence, choosing the career and college has become like a really tedious task for a counselor, thanks to the technology, but it is important at the same time to educate the parents, teachers, institution, and then students, so that altogether they can make a fine decision for them towards their best match destination. So if I talk about my journey, I finished my post-graduation from Europe in Sweden. I did a master's degree in science, and then went to Portugal through the Erasmus exchange program, where exactly I started building the interest in international education. So I saw that we have leaders in STEM, but how to connect this thing from the high school to tertiary education. Not a very good amount of schools are working in South Asian region. Since I'm originated from South Asia, I went back to my country, started working as a college counselor. Only 4 to 5 schools in Bangladesh back in 2015 had college counselors. And I was probably the 5th one. And then in 2017, I was invited to attend a conference in India, where these 5 counselors, we were invited to present the educational landscape in Bangladesh, how the college counseling things are happening. And after coming back, we formed this college counselors network, because we felt that a lot of countries, they have these alliances and these things, but it is important that we expand our network, provide information to more schools who need this sorts of support. So in 2 years, we could really reach out to 25 schools. We approached more schools, but as you know, that college application involves a lot of like cost and then the other involvement. Administrator from a lot of prominent schools, initially they were not really into that, because their more target is on the public universities in the local country and the top institutions. And then I got an award from the US State Department as an emerging counselor from Bangladesh. So at the US State Department's leadership program, I visited United States, a couple of universities and counseling associations like NAFSA, NACAB, and IACAC. I had a fruitful meeting, after which I came back and started working for the US Embassy, Dhaka's Education USA wing at the Yamka Center. So I worked there almost for 4 years, managing the American space. This was one of the priority American space in South Asia. The status has been changed recently, but then Since my study and my engagement, most of them were from Europe. So I decided, because my family priorities, to shift back to Europe again. And now I'm connecting the dots between the schools and colleges in Europe, working as campus collaborator between the universities and schools. At the same time, I'm having this my passion towards guiding the students so that they can find their best fit destination.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. So let's get into more of this exciting topic around college admissions, AI. And my first question for you, Rizwan, is what are the current applications of AI in college admissions for student support?
Um, I believe we have seen a couple of things. The moment ChatGPT was introduced, students started taking advantage of this thing, writing their college prompts and some of the tasks. But at the same time, the top universities, they have also started introducing detecting those prompts. So chatbots and automated live chats, and there is like admission algorithm from different universities. We have seen the drafting process has been application tracking system, and transcript evaluation using the artificial intelligence in many universities. So it's as a whole, like AI is being increasingly used in various aspects of college admission, so that it can provide support to both students and improve the efficiency of the college admission process.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So, my next question is what are some of the ethical considerations surrounding the use of AI in the college admissions process, which kind of includes like any fairness, transparency, and bias mitigation?
I'm sure through our professional journey, we have seen I believe the number one consideration for me is equal access and opportunity. And then when we talk about using artificial intelligence and the people who are not using artificial intelligence, so transparency will be the second consideration. The third will be the bias and discrimination between the process, right? So these three will be the most major ethical consideration while using the AI in college admission process, because another AI algorithm can perpetuate bias if trained or enabled with the incomplete data or something like that. And universities must ensure that the data is used to develop AI models is diverse and representative and free from those discriminatory biases. So regular audits, like we do this for the offices, for the AI, it has to be introduced and it should be conducted to detect and mitigate any bias that it may emerge in the system. Another thing I would like to talk, when we talk about the equal access and opportunity, it should not exacerbate the existing inequalities in access to education. Universities should ensure that the admission process, they do not disproportionately disadvantage certain group or favor others, because not all the countries have equal utilization of AI, right? Suppose if we talk about even in Qatar or UAE, not all will have the same thing. Even I had students from Saudi Arabia, and when I came to Italy last year, I saw a couple of schools, they were banning students not using AI. Some schools like Globe Educate, they say that under 13 you cannot use AI, which is good, I think, because you need to give chance to students so that they can develop their creative mindset. But at the same time, it is pushing students to think beyond their conventional thought process. Even it's pushing teachers as well, that how they should teach. So maybe as we talk further, we'll see that even teachers have a significant role in the education system, to embracing AI, not thinking at it as opponent or an obstacle.
Yes, absolutely. If teachers are well equipped with how to use AI and see the benefits and could model ethical behaviors around it, and like you said, also allow the creativity to flow within their students, but also delicately balance the two, then Yeah, that would be amazing. But I think, like you said, there's a bit of resistance with a certain generation. They're not willing, or they perceive AI to be like this overarching nemesis almost, right? At the moment. But slowly but surely, I think things will have to change because it is so prevalent in our day to day lives. So,
Exactly. And if I may ask you, what sorts of change have you seen in your surrounding, in your schools and the other system? How the other school counselors are acting into that changes, or how you saw the teachers are acting into that change? If you can share a little.
well, definitely, I think there's investment in training and how to utilize AI to its full benefit and advantages, and showing and educating teachers how it actually can be helpful and the power of it, right? Because a lot of people don't know what it is capable of. They just think, oh, I type in a few key things, a few questions, and it spits out an answer. But no, like AI is actually very helpful and powerful and can save people time. And I know that there's a lot of counselors out there who complain that they don't have time, but I'm one of those people that have been proactive. Same with my team. We use AI to help us generate outlines for emails, or outlines for letters of recommendation, or outlines for presentations. Now, we don't copy paste and then just say this is it. We have to put our personal touch into it and our creativity into it, but it saves us the time, right? And it helps us come up with ways that can even make the presentation even a little bit better, than maybe what we come up with. So we're embracing the change. It's slow, it's steady, but it's happening.
Great, great.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. So, Rizwan, so can you share a little bit more about how do you think educational institutions can effectively integrate AI into their admission processes while ensuring some equity and inclusivity?
Great, great. That's a really good question because cost consideration and accessibility, faculty training, and patterns of AI, and keeping the human insights, or if we can say human oversight and integration. This will be detrimental to effectively integrate AI into the admission process, because if you really want to ensure the inclusivity, educational institutions should consider these sorts of strategies, right? Because schools and colleges, they need to ensure that the integration of AI does not create any financial burden for the students, because there will be some sorts of cost involvement. But we see that if you want to use ChatGPT 4 or any other version, you need to pay a certain amount of money. Even for the psychometric test as well, you need to pay. And this thing will be there. But at the same time, the schools should ensure that the lower income background students are not affected greatly because of that, right? Because institutions should consider the cost burden from individual students so that they can strive to provide equitable access to AI technology.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, the ethical guidelines and transparency should be there as we talk. And the second point is, I'm coming back to the previous question, is faculty training and acceptance of AI that we just talked, that providing comprehensive training and support for faculty to address any resistance to the adaptation of new technologies. And I mean, schools need to ensure that their acceptance to AI tools are easygoing and they're going along with the students. So yeah, it should not create any opponent source of feeling among the students and teachers.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know that you work with students. You are a counselor as well, and pretty much my entire audience are school counselors. Could you share some success stories of students benefiting from AI-driven application support?
Yeah, I mean, let's think about. I'm talking to a student who is going to apply to a certain university where, I mean, even if start with the U.S. universities, right? There are 4,500 plus accredited universities in UK, and then there is Canada, and then other countries. And as a counselor, it's not possible for us to remember about every single data of those universities. We have certain amount of sheets like common data set, and then certain sorts of things from College Board, and then other resources. But now it becomes more flexible for students to know why the university will be a good fit for them, and what are they providing, and how they will be able to contribute to the university in a better way. Previously, it was like you go to every single university's website knowing about that, okay, certain parameters, 10 bullet points, and these sorts of things. But now you share a profile of a student, being a counselor, and then you get automated suggestion that these are the universities good at these particular things. If we think about like fashion and textile and these sorts of things, they will be suggesting the Bocconi University in Italy, which is ranked third in Europe and sixth in the world, which previously very few students had idea about, right? ETH Zurich and some other universities, which probably the one country focused students probably wouldn't think before, but now because artificial intelligence is here, compiling the information and processing and utilizing this thing within a very short period of time is becoming really easier. So yeah, and then even applying to top tier universities, furnishing their college application and the admission essays as well, how they can really present themselves in a better way becomes easier, because there are tools that's been used, like, furnishing the admission essay and then the other components as well for the recommenders as well. It becomes easier to understand that what would be the demand from that university and how, in which area the students are flourishing, so that they can really showcase and articulate the better version of the student.
Absolutely.
So yeah, as a whole, it's an advantage for all concerned authority. Even a couple of my students who got into like top IVs in past years, I have seen they were really good at toppers in their school, but having some source of help from AI always helps them to dig what they're really good at. Because sometimes, asking good question can really be helpful for you to understand and how to channel that students in a better way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
I noticed that some of my students, when they were doing some of their basic research, they were typing in keywords or key questions, and they would get a result and they would type it into ChatGPT and not Google. And I was like, what? Like, it threw me off, because again, they're so clever now and they're getting results, they're getting information. Of course, it could be slightly outdated depending on what version you're using, but it's still helping them streamline a process and get the information faster, which I find pretty clever. So I have one more question for you, Razoun. Could you address some concerns about the over-reliance of technology in the admission process for students?
I mean, we all understand that overusing this technology, those who have been working in research and these sorts of fields, like plagiarism, has been a really big concern. And you don't want a student to do the entire application using AI, because in that case, he or she will not be able to truly demonstrate who he or she is. And the universities are also using this detection softwares. But I believe college needs to allow human evaluators to review and override AI-driven decisions, right? Because ensuring the final admission decision consider like all relevant factors and potential, contextual notes. So it's about not entirely relying on this thing, because if you rely on this thing, you will get caught, frankly speaking. But if you want to get a sense of what this university looks like, or what is their mission and vision, and what sorts of students they want, what sorts of alumni they produced, how is the teaching methodology of the teachers. That's where you should actually be searching or utilizing AI to know about where you are going. And also the same way that where you are from, maybe suppose you belong to a school who is not having a really strong profile, but if you talk a little bit about what your school provides, then AI formulates the thing for you that, okay, so you're coming from this source of background and this might be a good match for you. So, it depends on how you use it, but you need to be really, really careful, because the way plagiarism detection softwares are there, this AI detection softwares are there, like, they can easily catch your things. So over-reliance on technology can really break your game. So don't let it break, rather make it for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your insights today. It's actually been very eye-opening and actually quite enjoyable, this topic, because I haven't talked about the use of AI and how it can help counselors and students yet on my podcast. So thank you so much for bringing this topic to us today. Now, if people want to get in touch with you and talk more about this, how could they get in touch with you, Razoun?
Great, thank you. I believe you are providing a wonderful support to the students for a wide and expanded region in Middle East and those parts. I feel you can add my LinkedIn profile, Razoun Siddiky, to him, would be, or they can get in touch with me via my email address, and I have an organization named Campus or AI Collab, through which I'm connecting the students in Europe, through which they can get in touch with me. But I believe it's more important to have a dialogue between the community, that how we are embracing AI. And I would really, really like to thank you again for hosting me. And I just love the conversation and would love to hear your insights as well in a coming podcast. So thank you so very much.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on the WRC podcast. Thank you to Razoun Siddiky, who joined me so graciously to talk about this topic. And we will catch you guys all on the very next episode. Did you love the episode? I hope you're feeling inspired and no longer feeling alone out there, and you're ready to evolve and become a better person. Make sure that you share this podcast or take a screenshot and post it on your social media. That's how you help spread this podcast organically, and people can find it much easier when you share, or share it with a loved one. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and make it your mission to be a blessing in someone else's life today.